Here's a pretty unique tree bark sheath that I made yesterday for my coffin handle bowie. I was going to use leather or birch bark, but my pieces of those materials were a little too short. And then on my work table, I saw I had this piece of bark that came with an old English anvil I bought. The anvil was bolted to a stump that looked like elm. You can see here I'm using an HK dangler clip, which is my preferred way of carrying these days. So the old anvil stump was too short, and I ended up putting it on another taller stump, but the bark had sloughed off. It's got really deep furrows, and you can see as I'm turning it, you can see the shadows. I mean, this tree bark is an inch thick in some places. My kids are still using the original stump as a seat for their drum set. So I just roughly drew out with a Sharpie the outline of the knife, and I left a very thick portion. Originally, I was going to drill holes in it and stitch it with brown paracord. I roughly cut out the shape on the bandsaw, but the bark still had this curved radius as it was wrapped around the tree. So I have to boil it in water and then flatten it out to take out that curve. So I got my old Coleman 426 camping stove that I converted to run on propane with this little stick here. I got the propane conversion on Amazon. It was like $20. It's the fastest thing in the world to convert. You just screw it on and plug it in and light your stove. I do most of this work outside because I don't want the fumes or the mess in the house. This bark is surprisingly tough. It's not flaky like a lot of other tree barks. And when I clamp it, I'm protecting the bark with these little squares of leather. The backing is like a veneer from a hollow core door. So how I was going to stitch this sheath together, but I was having too many problems with the wood and the bark busting out. So what I ended up doing is I'm putting screws in, and like this one, and then I'm cutting the heads off with the angle grinder. And it seemed to work on several of them. So now I'm going to do the rest. So it's holding, the backing is being held to the bark, thread to thread, and it's glued also. It's pretty unique, so I'm going to take it out and see how it holds up.